Currently in Japan, bookstores are continuing to go out of business. Over the past 20 years, the number of bookstores has diminished to less than half. There are a number of reasons for this. In addition to the original trend away from printed material, Japan's seemingly everlasting recession, and the prevalence of material available on the internet have solidified this trend. Particularly hard hit are the smaller, privately owned bookstores. What kind of bookstores are still surviving under such circumstances? Based on information from our viewers, the Deeper Japan conducted a field survey. Daniel Lemoyne reports from the site.
So, right here, we're in Niigata City, but there's a big road. This is Route 8. If you go that way, you get to the Niigata downtown. And if you go that way, you get farther and farther into the Niigata country. But this is all Niigata City. It's kind of a smaller city for Japan, but it's a really nice one. And you find interesting places like this along the way. This is Books Daytona, and I really love this old building, which almost looks like you've got like 3 or 4 buildings built on top of each other or something. It's really kind of fascinating. And actually over here, you know, you've got like a big signboard there. What is this ladder? Where does this go? There's like nothing up there, but it looks like an old roof or something that they built around. Maybe you can have like a... Yeah, it's really interesting. It's weird. So this has a very kind of 60s, 70s, 80s look to it, which it still looks like today. And it's really interesting with the old signs here on the outside. Right there, I mean, I don't believe that they still sell videotapes here, but it's really interesting. And then closer to the entrance, you've got a sign for, what's this? Toshoken? Is that for gifts or whatever? Okurimono ni. I guess you can send those all around the country. Shukan Post, Motorcyclist Magazine, and probably the best one is Imidas, which is that was the 1988 edition of like a dictionary. So imi dasu, you get the information out of it. It's kind of funny. And then another broken sign for videos up there. But yeah, this place, I mean, it's cool enough on the outside, but we need to get inside and take a look at everything here. So yeah, let's go in. Mm-hmm. It's nice and cozy in here. It's like not small, but not too big. Oh wow, yeah. There's been like a resurgence of Godzilla recently. But I guess this is like, yeah, new retro. Oh wow, there's a whole Kamen Rider magazine that just... This is actually not that old. These are all kind of new. Obviously, it's just one of those things that never goes away. Like there's always people who are into cars. I guess always people that are into Godzilla and Kamen Rider and stuff. It's kind of interesting because, you know, new things come out, but like the old never truly goes away. Something about it, I guess, just strikes a chord with people. There's a lot of... These are all newer comics. And I haven't been reading anything all that recently, but I'm definitely familiar with Chico. This is on like the morning news. They turn these into like little animated shorts and stuff. That's funny. Yeah, wait a minute. Kenji, he's he does a lot of like watercolor stuff, right? Yeah, kind of really interesting artist. Um, Tsuruda Kenji, definitely recommended. And you know, of course, they're going to have like all these current popular things, but in this place, you find some odds and ends, like you know, some of the art books over there, or the models that you would have to find a more specialty store. And I guess that's it. This is the specialty store for this area. He knows what the people here like, and this is kind of their space. You know, it's kind of impressive that a place like this can keep going, even you know, in a world that has Amazon or uh, big name stores where you don't need to order things from uh, a small place like this. I mean, yeah, look at this. Here's a classic, Dragon Ball. All of them in order, you know? One thing that's a really interesting like subculture in Japan are these that are like they're referred to as gravure modeling here, which is basically just kind of like I don't know, we would almost consider it softcore porn or something like that in English, where yeah, let's just get a random one. Just like some model, and then like just usually you know photo shoots of them with no actual nudity. And I think a lot of people in the West would think of this as just like a waste. But there's just people who like get so absorbed in like idols and gravure models that like it's just this little world in Japanese culture that's just like obviously flourishing. Because look at all this, and each of these is like a different model. Like I don't even know if I can name more than 5 fashion models in the West. And look at this. All these people have like a following and like a fan base. It's like it's crazy that something like this can not only exist but like thrive in Japanese culture. And then we're getting into old manga here. And speaking of old manga, actually I saw these up on the wall. This is really cool. Uh, they are illustrations and autographs from 3 of Niigata's famous authors. Um, I think all of these 3 were, I think, born in Niigata. Um, and my favorite is definitely Takashi Rumiko. She is amazing. I'm sure everybody knows her for Urusei Yatsura. Probably in America, you would know her more for Inuyasha. But yeah, she's great. I think this is really interesting. You can see just how worn down the floor is here with the old tiling that's just like completely gone. But it's like so gently worn down that it just blends in entirely. Probably never updated it, you know, the entire time. Look at that. Tiles like lose all of their detail and shape and everything. So this kind of stuff I really love. So this is Garo, which is like an old adult comic magazine from. I mean, these are going back to the '60s, and he's got some here '70s, '80s, '90s. It's like an amazing little time capsule. Um, and we say adult comics. It's not necessarily like you know porn or anything, but just like I mean, right here is like a samurai story, stuff like that. But it's just really cool to see what was popular, like the different styles back in the day and the themes that like prevailed, and then versus what is popular, years and years later. And here's one from the 90s, and it's just sort of like you can see the different like shift in tone and style and everything. It's really interesting to see this. It's almost like, I mean, like half library where you're just like going back in time. I'm sure you'd be happy to sell these, but yeah, it's really cool just to flip through them. Uh, but probably something that a lot of foreigners are more familiar with. Here we have the old Shonen Jump, and we can't open these because they're probably a little more fragile and a little more valuable, but that's really cool. You can still enjoy all the covers and just seeing like the shift in styles over the years too. Oh, and then down there, Shonen Magazine. Yeah, these are cool. So we just checked out this half of the store, and if we go that way, it's all porn, and kind of interesting just to look at the spines of the books here because these are all from like the 80s and 90s. So you can kind of go back in time and see, what was popular then, what people liked. And then if you go further down, you'll see what's new and what people like today. But because of YouTube, we can't show any of that. But use your imagination. There's anything and everything down there. It's pretty wild.
Just as fax machines, videotapes, and pagers went the way of the dodo, books may also suffer a similar fate. But before that happens, how about occasionally visiting a real bookstore instead of browsing online? Especially here at Books Daytona, you can experience not only the atmosphere of a long-established bookstore, but also the unobtrusive and solid service that caters to book-loving customers. That's the kind of fun you can only experience in a real bookstore. Navigating the outdated system of the Japanese publication industry, the owner says this bookstore could close at any time. So perhaps we should visit before it's too late. It's not a beach with sunshine, nor is it a fancy watch from Switzerland. It's just a genuine Japanese bookstore located on the outskirts of a local city in northern Japan. Why don't you stop by before everything completely changes?